What mental obstacles do people commonly face when trying to lose weight, and how can they overcome them?
Well, when it comes to losing weight, there's a lot of obstacles that people are confronted with, and it usually stems from the fact that they've tried so many things before and they just haven't seen them to fruition. So they've done this plan or that plan. They've given their utmost attention to it. They've tried really, really hard. They've followed it all the way through. And the results just were not what they were looking for. So obviously, they start becoming less confident. So lack of confidence builds up. Lack of self-esteem builds up. Just believing in themselves. And, you know, I mean, to go into a situation where people are hungry to change, because we don't know what their life has been like. You know, they may have been heavy their whole entire life, or maybe they weren't heavy in their entire life. Maybe when they were young, they were in great shape, and then life itself has changed, and they've changed with it. And they woke up one day and said, who's this? I don't recognize this body anymore. And they are in a position of being lost. They don't have the experience to make the right decisions on what to do. They've heard lots of things through the internet and friends telling them what they've done. They've read books. They've seen commercials. They see people on TikTok. They see social media, promoting a ton of stuff. And they don't know what to do. So they now step out into the world, and they have to trust somebody. And ultimately, whoever they put their trust into is a decision based on just how they feel when they're speaking to that person, or what someone says. It's blind trust. And then they go through this routine, whatever that routine is going to be. And, all of a sudden they're restricting their calories. They're probably doing things in their life that they haven't done in a long time, going to the gym, exercising at home, whatever the case is, sacrificing, telling people, no, I can't have that, and no, I can't do this. And then as time goes on, they're expecting to see some great things. They have this unrealistic expectation maybe of what this diet will look like. Maybe their friend did something and they changed drastically, so they feel exactly the same thing should happen for them, and it doesn't. And they start questioning all the efforts that they're making and saying, I'm making all of this effort and the result I'm getting is this. It hardly seems worth it. And so therefore, ultimately, they get into a position of, do they continue going forward or do they stop? And a lot of times they stop. Most times. I won't even say a lot of times. Most times they stop. And they're left with a bad taste in their mouth that this didn't work. And so that's how people get low self-esteem, because when you put your hand up and say you want to do something and you want to try and you want to change, and then all of a sudden what you get is not that at all, you start to look at yourself and blame yourself rather than looking at the system that you might have been following. So, lack of confidence, self-esteem, self-value in oneself, to even go to such an extent where you just kind of give over your own natural common sense and you just listen to someone else tell you to do something that just maybe sounds completely crazy, but in your desperation, you decide that you will follow it. And then I think those are the things, and I think that's one of the biggest keys is just, the track record. If you look at people who have been dieting if you look at people, the majority of people have been dieting their whole life away, probably since the time that they were 20 years old or after they had their first child. Or even with men, when they got out of university and got into the workforce and started sitting around and doing whatever it is that they were doing, they started to look at themselves diminishing, their physique diminishing, their energy diminishing. So they decided that was the time to, make adjustments. And then fast forward 10, 15, 20 years of doing this repeatedly over and over and over again, and then seeing that they are worse now at 30 or 40 or 50 than they were when they were 20 doesn't leave a lot of people with a lot of confidence, of course, because they're saying, I've done all this for this. I have one life to live. Forget it. If this is the outcome, I'd rather just, eat my bonbons and donuts and pizza and to hell with it. So I don't know. I think that's the big part of it all right there. You have to be confident. Ultimately, you have to do something that you feel that will work for you. And then when it works and you start to see the results, it creates momentum. You start seeing, hey, the effort I'm making is cause and effect, this is what I'm doing, and the effect is positive. So you keep doing the same thing and repeatedly year after year, and you just keep getting better and better. You have confidence, you'll have self-esteem, and you learn about value because you realize that taking care of yourself provides all these results, like better energy, better esteem, better strength, obviously a better look, better shape, all these things. So to overcome those challenges, I think what would be a smart thing is that people, first of all, set realistic expectations for themselves. If they haven't been doing a lot of things in the past, they can't expect overnight that they're going to have instant success. And it's not even common sense to think that. It would be like, a farmer who goes out and plants seeds in the field, and then he goes out the very next day and looks to see if there's any growth. I mean, it would be ridiculous to think that in such a short period of time that results are going to be there. However, when you are doing things positively for yourself, whether that be eating right or whatever, there's a mind shift that happens with that decision. And so there is change, but it's subtle and it's in the mind and it takes time. But you have to do the work. You have to put the time into it. So ultimately, setting realistic expectations would be something. Meditation. Sitting down and looking at oneself, getting to understand your own body and your own needs, your own requirements, and sort of going within yourself and finding that power. Because ultimately, to make any kind of change in anything in life, it doesn't have to be your body. It can be any decision that you make. You want to move to another state, country, whatever the case is, you have to prepare yourself mentally to do that. And if you just fly off the seat of your pants and make these decisions and, I'm going to do this and we'll just see how it goes, it's not going to go. It's never going. You can't guess your way through this thing. You can't be a kite in the air flying all over the place. You have to follow a structure. And sometimes it's key to sit down and just go within yourself and find the power within yourself, what it is that you actually want, what you actually value, what you want to see for your future, and then ultimately focus on that and bring that power out and do everything in your power to move towards that ultimate goal. So don't expect too much, but expect change. And don't expect it overnight. Expect that time will do its job, and time takes time. And if you do that, you're going to see a difference, and that's just all there is to it.
Would you say that different people see different results from others?
Well, I think this is a huge issue when it comes to health and wellness, because when you look at the health and wellness industry unto itself, the information that the health and wellness industry presents is a generalized model. General this, general that, generally speaking, you should be doing this. Generally speaking, you should be doing that.
A uniform system.
Right. But the problem in that is there's nobody that's general. We're general in the fact that, I'm a male, you're a male, this one's a female, and we're humans. But when you come right down to it, each individual is uniquely different and therefore need to be dealt with in a specific manner. Aside from the fact of just social constructs, family life, stress levels, your job, do you work night shift? Do you work, 12 hours a day? Are you working with people? All of those scenarios in of itself changes you from somebody else. And then, of course, genetic makeup. Some people have an amazing genetics where they don't have to do as much stuff as, say, someone else to get the same results. Not just genetic makeup, but then, just lifestyle and weight and bone structure and health issues that one might have, even health issues that are genetic predispositions. So when you look at people, you have to, especially if we're trying to ensure that everyone who undergoes a choice, they ultimately want to succeed, so if somebody comes and to a store and they want to buy a TV or something like that, they're specific. They want to walk in, they have the money, and they want to walk out with a TV. That their goal is accomplished. When people, this is a bit different. When people come in and say, "I need to change. I want to obtain this sort of look, or this lifestyle, or this health. I want to stay away from doctors. I want to stay out of hospitals. I want to. This is what I need in my life." That's great, and when they do that, they expect that who they're listening to is going to provide them an answer that is going to get them into a position of, facilitating what it is that they're after. But if we provide general information to them, there's not a chance. It's like a big guesswork, and ultimately, as I said, people are so uniquely different that they need to understand those differences and what those differences require. So if they don't understand their body, I like to put it like this. This is probably the best analogy. If my goal is to go to Paris, for example, I need to, first of all, know where I live, and I need to know where Paris is. So I need a map. I need a direction. Now, I couldn't tell you where Paris is on the map from where I'm standing. I know it's in a 360-degree circle of where I'm at, but I can't tell you exactly where it is. The person who can is probably the pilot. And if the pilot gets that direction wrong, if he just takes a general idea, yeah, I have a general idea, it's in that direction, and he's 10 degrees off, we're not hitting Paris. So to get where you want to go, you need to know exactly where it is that you actually want to go and where it actually is. And that's the thing that is an issue for most people. They know where they want to go. They don't know where they are. They don't know that in this body houses all the information and tools that they need to get there. So first of all, as I said, what's the bone structure? How much fat? How much water? How much muscle? What's my how many calories does my body burn every day? So it's so unique and so specific that if you don't know the specifics of me, you'll never get where you want to go. You'll just ultimately end up guessing and going in a direction and ultimately failing, unfortunately, and buying into a system that just has you repeatedly trying different paths to get there. So if you want to thwart all of that, if you want to get exactly where you want to go, you need to know exactly where you are, and also obviously you need to know exactly where you want to go. And then you have to do the work that is mandated towards you based on your own body type, body's requirements. And if you do that, it's a foregone conclusion that you'll get there. So going back to the analogy, if you go to the airport and you're going to Paris, you don't even second guess it. You get in on your seat and you anticipate that you're going to land, and you will bet all your money on it that you will land in Paris because you know that somebody knows the direction. So in this respect, you need to know the direction of where you're going. And if you don't know that, you can also bet that you're not going to get there.
How does one's level of confidence affect their ability to maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Well, confidence affects your ability to have a healthy lifestyle, because ultimately what you're doing, you're confident will work. So you have to be confident in the decisions that you've made. And that confidence will ultimately see you through all the tough times that are going to come up. Because obviously there's going to be challenges along the way when you are living a healthy lifestyle. There's going to be things that, life never goes as planned. There's going to be adversity that you're going to have to face, death in the family, or the opposite, a wedding, or a child being born, or whatever, a loss of job. A lot of things happen in life. But a lifestyle is more important than that. Lifestyle is one's own self. It's how one lives themselves. And so, when you're partaking in developing your own standard of living, and you want it to be the very, very best life that you possibly can have, when you want to maximize your own ability, the effort throughout a day, it's sort of encompasses your whole entire day. It's the decision when you wake up to, maybe go on the treadmill for 30 minutes, or to eat a proper meal, to not skip meals, to not have bad meals, to, even though you're tired, to go to the gym afterwards. And so this is what it takes to actually have a good, healthy lifestyle, to make good decisions, not just from a physical point of view, but a mental point of view and all of that. But if you're not going to be confident in that, if you're not confident that you can make those decisions, if you're not confident that you can stick to those decisions, if you have a history of, as soon as something happens, and like I said, like adversity, and what you do with adversity is, you stay in bed for 7 days upset and not eating, or you just stop going to the gym because, you lost a job. Or if your decision making when things go, in a negative way, if your decisions are negative and you stop putting time into yourself, you're not going to have confidence that you can do that when other tough times come. The only confidence you'll have is that probably when tough times come, you're going to quit. So you have to be confident that your desire to be your best self will override all the adversity. And it's important to be present in the moment when you're going through these tough times, so that you don't let those tough times overwhelm you and start taking you down this current of negativity. Because that happens so often, that when things happen, it starts to affect us in such a way that we stop thinking. We just start, looking at the problem rather than seeing, the big picture, that a problem is just a temporary moment in time. And our life is with us till the very end of it. So we should be always making sure that our priority is taking care of ourselves. So we have to be present every single day to not only what it is that, we're trying to obtain, and that should be, thought of every single day. But also we need to understand what we need to do today to make that happen. And sometimes just by doing that, living every single day present in the moment, how do I feel? How am I thinking? What is it that I want? And evaluating those things. To do that on a daily basis, after a while, becomes like routine. It becomes second nature. So you don't actually have to stop and ask yourself if you're doing the right things. You're just sort of subconsciously present all the time. It's just the way that you live your life. It's much like brushing your teeth. You get taught that from a child, and it becomes second nature to you. And that's just how having a healthy lifestyle has to be as well. And that's how being present starts to work. When you start thinking of yourself every single day, and in the moment, what decisions you're making, and how they're going to affect you. If you don't want the outcome to be negative or detrimental to your overall goals, you will stick to your initial plans. And when you do that, that is where the confidence comes in, and they start working hand in hand, because now that you have confidence, it's easy to be present. And when you're present, it's easy to build confidence because ultimately everything that you're doing is moving you in a better direction. So, I mean, this is something that, you know, you can talk about, but you have to actually follow it through, and you have to see it play itself out, because that's what happens. Over time, you'll look back and say, wow, you know, myself, for example, I've been, you know, started training at 12 years old, you know, and I had a goal. And the goal I had was to be a competitive bodybuilder, to be big, to be a certain way, which was completely opposite than the way I was as a kid, because I was very, very thin, very skinny. But I had a reason why I wanted to do it. I had a goal. And every single day when I woke up, it was like the first thing I said to myself, it was the first thing I did. I look at my walls, and that's what I would, you know, this is a tool that you can do, is you put something on your wall to remind you of, this is what I want to obtain, you know, like a vision board or something like that. And I used to look at my walls, and I would see bodybuilders on my wall, and I never forgot what I wanted. I mean, I didn't have to look at the pictures to know that I wanted that. But every time I saw it, it just refreshed my memory. So whenever I got sort of down on myself and it wasn't happening as fast as I would like, I knew that these guys didn't happen overnight either. And so that helps. And, you know, here I am, you know, 45 years later, and I don't have to think when I wake up, okay, what do I want to do today? Well, maybe I should eat well, you know, or maybe I should go to the gym. You know, it's second nature to me. It's no different than a woman waking up and having a shower, and before she goes to work, putting on her makeup. These are not thoughts anymore. These are just lifestyle, and this is just the way it becomes. And this is how confidence is built, and that's how. And being present daily helps build that confidence, and being confident helps you stay present. So they go hand in hand, and I think it's ultimately important and vital. If you want to be successful, you have to look at it this way. You got to dig in the trenches, be structured, do things routinely, like a lot of people don't like to do, but routine is important. And then after some time, it becomes second nature. And you will look back and be thankful that everything that you did to that point was that way, because you will be happy where you're at.
How does visualizing success contribute to achieving weight loss goals?
Well, visualization is a great question, actually, because it's so important, and I don't know that a lot of people do it. I don't know if you've ever been to a gym before, or have you ever watched like a powerlifting competition. You see someone standing up there before the bar. They're huffing and puffing. They're breathing hard. They seem to be not present. Well, they are present. They're present within themselves. And what they're doing is they're visualizing the fact that they are lifting that bar over their head, and they're succeeding. And a lot of people don't do this. And I don't care whether it's, we're talking about health and wellness, and that's, you know, my genre of life. But this principle is applicable in everything. You have to visualize yourself where you want to be. You can call it manifestation, I guess. You can say, I believe I'm going to be here, and therefore I will be. You can say that, but if you don't actually visualize it, if you don't see it happening, it's probably not going to happen. It has to be something that you are doing on a consistent basis. If you've ever seen skiers in the Olympics, Winter Olympics, let's say, for example, they're about to do the giant slalom. You see them in the gate. Their eyes are closed, they're holding the poles, and they're going side to side like this. So what are they doing? Well, they're visualizing the course in front of them, because it's in their mind. They have to see it in their mind. And then when they see it in their mind, and they know exactly how they're confident that that's the way it is, they go down the hill and they see themselves through the end of the course in whatever. If they saw it in record time, it's irrelevant. The point is that they saw the whole journey being played out in their mind before they actually did it. And this is crucial. And I didn't learn about this until I was in my 20s, really. I've heard about it, obviously, because in the gym, in bodybuilding, you know, the biggest muscle, the most important muscle you can work is the mind. But a lot of people just go to the gym and just start smacking weights around, or, you know, people just start doing things without really thinking about it. But when I was younger, in my early 20s, I had, you know, my physique grew like crazy everywhere. But anyone who knew me back then knew that I had one real weakness, and that was my arms. And I always wanted to have big arms. And when I say big, I mean 20 inches plus. But no matter what I did, and I worked hard, there was nothing about me that didn't work hard. As a matter of fact, when I started training, the first thing I was doing was barbell curls, because I wanted big arms. You know, I envisioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. See, I envisioned Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I envisioned those arms on me. So I always did the work, but they just didn't grow. And I just really couldn't figure it out. I wanted them to grow. I worked for them to grow. I was eating for them to grow. Everything else was growing, and my arms weren't growing. And I asked the question to a lot of people, what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? And one guy at the gym said to me, well, are you visualizing? And I said, what? He says, are you visualizing? Are you seeing it? I go, well, what do you mean? Like, I mean, I have pictures on the wall. I mean, I know what I want to look. Yeah. But are you visualizing yourself that way? And it was kind of taken back, and I had to think about that. So I went home and I started doing a little bit of research, and I found a self-hypnosis audio tape. This is going back a long time, when we used to have Walkmans, auto rewind. And it was self-hypnosis for bodybuilders. So it was exactly what I thought I wanted. And so on one side of the tape was a hypnotherapist, I guess, let's say, talking you into a sort of a trance, and on the other side was music with subliminal messages. And, you know, I was told that this is what's going to help me. So in my fashion, because, you know, when I want something, I will do what is necessary. I put those headphones in my ears, and I took a scarf and I tied it around my head with a knot in the front. So I had the scarf over my face, and I went to sleep. Well, I went to bed, and I put it on. And on the one side, you know, he's talking, you know, take a few moments, you know, breathe, and so on and so forth. And then he's telling you to, you know, visualize your body as you want it. And it would start from the head. And so he would be, you know, see your face. And as my eyes are closed and I'm focusing, I can see my face, and yeah, it's my face. And, you know, actually he started from the feet, my mistake. He started from the feet, and he worked up, and I saw my calves, and then I saw my legs. Yeah, those are my legs. And then I saw my abdominals, and I saw my chest, and then I saw the arms. And when I saw the arms, it was like, at first I saw my arms, and so that didn't work out very well. And this thing would go over and over and over and over and over. And I would do this day in, day out, day in, day out, all the time. And then I had sort of a breakthrough. And so I'm doing the same thing. And as it gets up to my body, he says, look at your arms. I see these arms. And I'm like, oh my God, they're amazing. And I saw the arms. And then as he comes up to the face and he wants you to look at yourself, it wasn't my face. So I remember being very frustrated that I visualized this entire body. It's my body. I saw it was my body. And when I saw those arms, I was like, hey, those are those arms. Those are the ones I want. And then it wasn't my face. And it took me about another month or so. And then finally one day, and I remember it because it's the one time I didn't fall asleep, I saw my complete body. And when I got to the arms, they were exactly how I wanted them. And they were big. They were big. They were 20 plus inches. And then when I got to my face, it was my face. And there was like a trip in my mind. I just remember it was like a trip in my mind. And from then on, I just knew that my training, my arms were going to grow. And if anyone who knows me in my career will say, what I used to have when I was young was, you know, I had a big body with 16-inch arms. When I got older, my arms were 20 and a half inches. And if I said exploded, would probably not be the right word. They just blew up. After this all happened, my arms just consistently got bigger and bigger and bigger, and they never stopped. They never stopped until I sort of, I guess, maybe got to a point where I was complacent. So Visualization, you have to see it. You have to be able to close your eyes and see yourself in that position. You got to see yourself where you want to be. You can't just think it, you have to believe it. You know, there's a saying, believing is seeing. No, seeing is believing. That's the saying. Seeing is believing. You grow up, seeing is believing. You know, your parents, well, seeing is believing, you know, show it to me and prove it to me. Seeing is believing. And so basically what it says is that it's not true until I see it. And the fact of the matter is it's completely a crap. It's believing is seeing. You have to believe in your mind that it will be, and then you will see it, you know? So in this, I mean, you don't plant a seed and wonder, I wonder if it'll grow. It grows. Look around you. There's trees everywhere. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that just happens. So in this respect, believing is seeing. Visualize what you want. Keep that in your head every single day, at the forefront of your mind, however you need to do it, and ultimately in the end, you will get what you want to get. Well, if you like today's video, the first thing I'd ask is that you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And obviously, thanks for watching. We appreciate that. And if you do have any questions or comments that you would like us to deal with, just put in the comment below and we will address it at some point.